Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. As you can see right here in front of us today, we are taking a look at the brand new 2019 repainted version of their Stegosaurus. I actually really like this paint job quite a bit more, I think, than the previous one. However, there is one area of mine that for some reason has some ugly paint on it, and I don't know why. Right here, if you look, there's a random area that just has some gray paint that I really feel like should not be there. I don't know if that was paint that was applied after the figure was painted, or if maybe some of the initial paint that they put on wiped off and that was the base coat. I have no idea, but it's definitely ugly and should not be there, and I don't understand what exactly is going on with Papo these days, but that itself is quite the eyesore on this figure. However, aside from that, I really think the paint scheme on this is really beautiful and actually really nicely done. It is definitely a huge step forward compared to their 2019 Allosaurus, which I felt was really sloppy and kind of ugly when it came to the way the paint was applied. That is not the case here with this Stegosaurus, so as always, let's get a closer look at it. So we have reviewed this Stegosaurus sculpt before. This, of course, as I stated, was just a repaint, so we've reviewed the actual original sculpt previously. So if you would like to see a more in-depth review of the sculpt of this, I will include a link to the previous review that I had done for this Stegosaurus in the description, so check down there if you want to see a more detailed review of the overall sculpting and details of this figure. As far as anything that is new on this figure, however, you can see that the new paint application is actually really nice. Some very nice, beautiful looking brown has been applied up here on the face, and it actually transitions from a black, which has had some nice dry brushing done to it with a lighter, almost like a light gray color, and then you transition down here into the brown around the face and nostril area, and then into this white, which is the underside of the head. And I think the paint application really looks beautiful. It transitions from each color back and forth in a very natural way, and I think they've done a great job overall on the coloration of the face. The eye is beautifully painted with like an olive green / yellow sort of mixture of a color, and has a nice black pupil, and it really looks beautiful. It's been very nicely glossed and looks very realistic. The eye placement is also really well done, so there is no real sloppiness there. The beak also looks really nice. I think they've beautifully applied the paint there on the beak, and on the inside of the mouth you can see the tongue is painted there. Again, you can't really see too much in the way of detailing inside the mouth, but actually what you can see does look really nice, and the paint application also looks beautiful there as well. As you start to run back the neck, you can see that the plates pick up in a nice dark brown, and then you also get this kind of spotting and this blackish color that runs along the back and then stripes down into the body in certain areas. You also get some, like I said, the spotting here with these black spots in this general vicinity. And then here and there throughout you get these black spots also, which are kind of outlined in a brown, which looks beautiful. I think it was a great color choice for this figure. As you go up along the plates, you can see that they are kind of a mixture of like a burnt umber brown and a lighter reddish type of a brown, and then on the inside you have like a khaki type of a color for the center of the plates, and that's exactly how the plates look the entire way out. However, they look really nice actually, and have a very realistic appearance to them, beautifully painted, and they look real as far as the color tones and everything go within them, so I think they've done a great job there as well. If you look at the inside of the plates, they don't have that khaki type color, but they still have that nice reddish brown mixed with some kind of like darker browns and blacks, and it does also look great there as well. You can see that the striping in this black and brown design runs down here onto the legs. As you get closer to the feet, it kind of turns into almost like a greenish type of a color. The nails are nicely painted and appear to have been given a beautiful wash as well, especially all through here in this general area, and the feet in general have a nice wash, really making it look very realistic and very alive. And then the paint application with these stripes and spots and everything runs out all the way out here onto the tail, even to the point of being on the underside of the tail a little bit, and the spikes here at the end of the tail are a very nice gray and have been given a great wash to again bring out the detail really realistically and very naturally. This side is obviously the better looking of the two sides because I don't have that awkward gray paint on this side, but you can again take note that the color is really quite the same. The eye is painted beautifully on this side as well. The paint application, I think, on this one actually looks a lot better than the previous one. The paint on the previous one was quite clearly an inspiration from the Lost World Jurassic Park, which is kind of the same idea with the sculpt of the Stegosaurus. However, with this new paint scheme, this is something all new. I'm not sure what the inspiration was for it, but I personally really like it. I think it looks beautiful without question, and the paint application on this is just miles ahead of what we saw on the Allosaurus, so it seems as though Papo is getting back on track when it comes to the paint apps of their dinosaurs, or at least let's hope so, because so far we've had the Brown Rex, which looked awesome, we had the Allosaurus, which looked pretty bad, and now we've got the Stegosaurus, which again looks awesome, aside from this one area with this gray paint that I just do not understand. But regardless, it looks fantastic in my opinion. We have measured this before, but we will just measure it again in case you are curious. So for a length on the Stegosaurus from the head to the tail, you're looking at about 8.5 inches, probably somewhere in that size range, or about 21.5 centimeters. And for a height, you are going to see the top of the plates. The highest point will probably be right about here. You're looking at about 4.5 inches, or about 11.5 centimeters. For a size comparison, we've of course got another member of the Papo family when it comes to the green Papo Rex, and this should help give you a good idea of how nicely these two size up against each other. And you can see that this Stegosaurus is just as beautiful and wonderfully painted and sculpted as the classic Papo Rex. The Stegosaurus sculpt in general is fantastic. I really love it. Of course, it's not the most up-to-date as far as what we think Stegosaurus look like currently, but in my opinion, it is a really beautiful Stegosaurus sculpt, but this new paint scheme really complements the figure overall. So the new 2019 Papo Stegosaurus is definitely a looker, I will say that. It really has a very natural looking paint scheme, but at the same time it's got a very striking paint scheme, the type of paint scheme that really draws you in and really makes you want to take note of just how beautiful it truly is. I think everything on this is painted honestly perfectly. I love the lighter coloration. It's a great tone of color for this kind of a dinosaur, and then you've got this black and brown kind of mottled all over it, and it really complements the sculpt, I think, and really helps to make this dinosaur look even more beautiful than it already did previously with that green version that they had initially released. I think that this Stegosaurus is really quite fantastic, and of course the paint job that Papo has now done also is fantastic. Again, I really hope that Papo sticks to the paint that we were seeing on this one when it comes to how nice and natural it looks, because the Allosaurus was kind of a disaster. So I'm really worried as far as some of the other figures go, because we've still got, I believe, the Gorgosaurus and the Pentaceratops, and then of course actually the new Spinosaurus whenever that one does get around to coming out. So we've got 3 more figures, and all, in my opinion, are 3 very important figures. The 3 that everyone is looking forward to the most, because they are all the new sculpts, as this is the last of the repaints from this year. So I'm really concerned as to whether or not the new ones are going to turn out as good as this Stegosaurus did. But we'll keep our fingers crossed, and all we can do is just wait and see. But as I said, the paint on this Stegosaurus, this brand new 2019 version, is just awesome. I really love it, and Papo completely nailed it as far as making this look like a very real, living, breathing Stegosaurus. So if you do want to pick up this 2019 Papo Stegosaurus, I will throw a link in the description for you to head on over to everythingdinosaur.com, where you can pick one of these up for yourself. They just recently came into stock, and I highly recommend you doing just that, because honestly it is an absolutely amazing looking Stegosaurus done here by Papo. So head on over there, follow that link in the description, but before you do that, don't forget to please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified of any future videos, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.